Hey there, aspiring guitarists. Today's edition of Guitar Talk. Remember, I'm splitting up the channel into Guitar Tip of the Week and Guitar Talk. Guitar Talk is where we just talk about any and everything guitar. And today I'm going to talk about my Nylon guitar collection as part of my guitar collection. Why I have nylon guitars, what I use them for, and why I'm not calling them classicals. I have a video about how do you define a classical guitar, and it covers all kinds of stuff, all the way to the strictest definition of a true concert classical guitarist. This certainly would not be defined as a classical guitarist, a saloon, although it is a beautiful, small, travel size guitar. It does have nylon strings. They're wrapped at the bridge. It has nylon style tuners, but that's up for debate. So the ones I own are not quite classical. So what would define a classical? A lot of times it's the 2-inch nut. Do mine have a 2-inch nut? No, but they're close. Have I owned any with a 2-inch nut? Yes, I have. I had a Cordoba that I bought on the stupid deal of the day. It was a great guitar. And it was defined and sold as coral. And it's like my wife said, that sucker's pink. You can call it whatever you want, but it's pink. Well, I'm not, I'm kind of all male. Although I can wear a pink shirt and not be intimidated by anybody about it. Try me. But anyway, my granddaughter loved it. So I was glad to give it to my granddaughter, and she absolutely loves that guitar. So most of my guitars are a transitional nylon guitar. The nut widths are almost 2 inches. And what do I mean by the nut width? If you don't know, the nut width is the width across the nut. The nut is most often white. It can be black. It can be all kind of things, but it's actually where the strings from the tuners and the headstock cross over into the slotted nut on their way down the fretboard to the bridge and saddle to be pinned off, tied off, or strung through. A typical classical is tied off. And a lot of people are scared to death of tying off a classical. It's really not hard. It's you can actually undo one and take a picture of the knot as you're undoing it and pretty easily figure it out. But I may do a video on that later down the road. But what I'm going to get to in this is I'm going to show you some of my different nylons, why I got them, what they do for me, and I think you may find they can be a valuable part of your guitar collection. I'm going to cover some of that, and then we'll look at the guitars. Okay, back to the 2-inch nut real quick. The wider the nut, imagine this being real thin, and the wider you make it, well, naturally that's going to affect how you chord the guitar. It's going to affect, if it's wide, how much space you have to make a chord. You may find you have more room on a true 2-inch nut to get your fingers in between the frets. Let me give you an example here. This is my Multiac Mundial, which is a unbelievable electric nylon guitar from Godin out of Canada. They are literally experts at nylon electrics. And part of the problem with taking a nylon and making electric is you get a lot of feedback. And Godin pretty much resolved all this. The nut width on this guitar is 1.9 inches, not 2. But as you can see, I got plenty of room to get in here. There's an E chord. Now, if you were going to do scales, bigger, wider nut naturally usually corresponds with more distance, how big the frets are. So, you know, when you're doing scales, you may be stretching further. But that's okay too. Back to the 2-inch nut. This is a transitional guitar that is almost classical, almost. This is, without a doubt, my favorite nylon guitar, but I'm going to show you some other ones. Now, after I showed you that, I'm going to talk to you about the different reasons that I have them and what you can do with them. So, the 2-inch nut. No, most of mine are not, but they're close. Some of them are kind of skinny. Naturally, if it's a small scale guitar like the Luna here, then you're not going to have that. But if it's like this gorgeous Taylor right here, and I love this Taylor. This is probably the Godin is the one that I go to, but if I was going to play an acoustic nylon, there's just no doubt it would be this Taylor. It's got a 25.5 scale. The nut width is 1.87, so it's just a tiny bit below the Godin. Hang with me, I'm going to tell you why I play these things. This isn't just about showing you guitars, it's about why I use them and how they help my guitar journey. I think they can help yours too. This is just a beautiful sound. It's one of the few acoustic nylons that resonates. That has to do a lot with the way Taylor crafted this guitar, the bracing. It is just one of my favorite guitars to play if I'm playing with others and I need a nylon sound, which I'm gonna get to that too. I'll show you some other nylons too, but what do I benefit from having nylon string guitars? I'm not going to call them classical. I've explained to you the 2-inch nut. I mean, go look up, Google define classical guitar. You're going to get all kind of things. Remember, a classical guitar is designed to be played in the classical position. There's a reason for that. That's not what this video is about. But what the nylon guitars do for me are many things. That's why I have different ones. Chord and scale technique. The nylon guitars that I have are tattletales. They tell on you. They're begging to tell on you. This is my Fender Slimline nylon guitar. It's an acoustic electric. If I try to play a chord on this, play it right, if I don't have my fingers curled in a guitar position where you can slide something under there like we teach, if I start doing scales, hear that ringing? If I mess up, it's going to tell on me. If I hit a chord, do you hear that? There was some dud there. Hear it ringing? I've got some buzz going. It's not from the guitar, it's from my fingers. So part of the reason I use a nylon guitar is for technique. I think technique is very important. Technique is part of what you, in my view, what you need to be practicing. I'm a firm believer, like my videos got been watched more than anything, that you should play a simple song every day. Playing songs makes you happy, makes you a better guitarist, but technique, practicing chords, practicing chord progressions, moving from a D to an A, then to a D, to a G. I've got a buzz here on the 5th fret. Why? Because I don't have my finger correct. Now, I dropped the ring finger above the high E string on the 3rd fret. Another way to play a G. Now lift it up and you'll hear the more familiar G. There's still a little ring in there. Why? Because I don't have my technique down. Now that may drive some people crazy, but I find it helps me with the guitars that I like to play with others, with the guitars I like to play with my family and sing. But there are some nylon guitars that are well suited for certain songs, especially songs, let me put this one up, where articulation becomes important. But before I go to that, let's pull up this Yamaha beginner guitar. It's another small one like the Luna. I highly recommend this guitar for a beginner. Nylon strings, small scale. Let's see what size. This is a nope. This is I'm looking it up, a 1.9 inch nut width on a 21 inch scale length, meaning that you got a lot of room width-wise to get chords in here, but you don't have a lot of room going down the neck toward the body, so you've got to squeeze them in there. This is a great little guitar to learn on. Now, as far as doing scales, I love to practice scales on this because the 21 inch scale condenses it, so it's not as hard to reach. Whereas the big 2-inch nut classical, you'd be reaching, stretching that pinky finger a long way. So this is my little Yamaha beginner guitar. I'm pretty sure you can find it all over the place for under $140. I'll put links to these guitars in the description. But chords and scale technique. When I go to practice, I often pick up one of my nylon guitars, and it helps me to build a better technique, especially when I was going through getting back to playing and making my hands stronger from the Dupuytren contracture, also known as Viking disease, that I had, and I've now pretty much overcome it. It's still painful to play. The other reason, sore fingers. If I've played a lot during the day, and I have really, I don't know if you can see those calluses, but I mean, I have calloused you can poke pins deep into my fingertips and it's not going to bleed, and I'm not going to feel it. Now, I don't recommend you doing that. There's certainly infection things you need to think about and stuff like that. I'm just saying that when I have sore fingers and I still want to play or practice, I pull out a nylon guitar. Now, the one I pull out will have to do with the sound, which I'm going to get to, and what it's useful for in playing with others. And that moves us into articulation and finger picking. Now, let's get back. Well, I'll show you. This is the small Luna, whoa, sorry about that, travel size guitar. And so if I play something, some familiar chords, it's not bad. But, you know, it suits me for when I'm tired and I want to practice. But if I move to my Taylor, play those same chords. This Taylor is one of my favorite nylon style guitars, and it's not an acoustic electric. They do make one similar. I love this beveled armrest here. Guitars I play a lot, I have this little built-in sound hole Diadiero tuner. I'm going to press the button in here. And I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. It's lit up there. And, you know, and I do, that's how I tune, because I don't want to go find a headstock tuner. So the guitars I play a lot, they're acoustic and don't have a built-in tuner like the Fender Slimline has right there. Let's turn it on. I use that little sound hole tuner because I play it a lot. Now, of course, it's easy to just grab a clip-on tuner, but one that I keep handy and grab all the time, I put that little tuner in there, because articulation, that when I finger pick, every single string I'm picking with my right hand and fretting with my left rings out. They're not muted. Electric guitars are without a doubt easier to play, but they will often hide your mistakes. Now, I realize some people will go, well, you're full of crap, that's a bunch of bull. Yeah, I know it depends on the guitar and the scale length, the nut width, the fingerboard radius. Back to the fingerboard radius, something about nylons. Most of the time you're going to find that these fingerboards are not very curved. They're mostly flat. They're 16-inch, pushing toward 20 for nylon type strings often as they move toward a classical guitar. Now, what that allows you to do is to get more articulation and other things. The other things I get very distinct sustains, bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs, and end-of-song chords. This is certainly an acoustic electric because it's a hollow body chamber. It even has sensors. That's one of the things that makes this Godin Multiac Mundial such a special guitar. When you plug it in, you can tap on it and the body sensors, got several body sensors will pick up. But when you play something, you see me just hammering with the E chord. A minor. And remember, the only projection you're getting is this tiny little sound hole through here. So, but it is a hollow body guitar. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm making A major 7. And then I am sliding this finger, get it where you can see it, from the first fret into the second fret. Well, that's that articulation, that's sustain. Well, let's just do it on one string. What I'm doing is, that's the start of the A major 7. Then we go to the second fret, 4th string, second fret, 2nd string. I strum it, and I slide. Those are the kind of things you can get out of a nylon when I talk about sustain, pull-offs, hammer-ons, things of that nature. So, what the nylon guitar does for my guitar journey are a lot of things. They help me with my technique. They help me when I got sore fingers, and I do get sore fingers. Even with me getting back to playing for the past year and a half, after overcoming the Viking disease, I still can't play that long with others. It still hurts to play. It's better. It's much better than it was. I've also worked out the osteoarthritis in my shoulder where I can play longer, but I still can't play like I could in my younger days. I just can't. And it's a reality that I have to face. Now, is it better than it was? It was much better than it was. But the nylon guitar helps me with some of these health conditions. And remember, you've got little skinny ones like the Multiac Mundial, the Fender thin line, and then you've got small traveler styles, the Yamaha, the Luna, and then you've got the big Taylor, and which has that beautiful projection that I just love. So the nylon can be a part. I'm not telling you to go buy 5 nylons unless you want to. That's your business. But you may find a small, this little. You'll find this little Yamaha, and it's not an acoustic electric. It's a CGS102A. CGS102A. You'll find it in most every guitar store. It's online. I've seen musicians' friend run it at the stupid deal of the day where it was under $100. So, but a nylon guitar, I'm not telling you to give up your steel guitar. I'm not telling you to give up your electric. I'm not telling you to do anything. I don't do that. I make suggestions. So, the guitar talk today is nylon guitars, not classical guitars. There is a difference. Now, I love the classical too. I like that Cordoba. It was a good guitar, but I found the 2 inches, it was tough. It was a Cordoba Protege C1 Matiz, I believe is what it was called. And it was relatively well priced. It was, oh God, I don't remember. It was like, I paid like $250 for a full classical style guitar, and I enjoyed playing it. I'm just glad my granddaughter took that pink guitar and she loves it. So anyway, and if you want to think bad about me for being happy to get rid of the pink guitar, that's fine. Uh, for those of you that like pink guitars, hey, more power to you. Enjoy your pink guitar. But I think that a classical guitar can serve beginners. I think it can serve beginners of any age, whether they're young or older and getting back into it. And I also think it can help people with some health conditions, especially some hand conditions. And remember, I also showed you where some of these nylons are thin. I had a Cordoba stage. It was on the lines of the Multiac Mundial about stopping feedback when used with electric. It just doesn't have the extra body sensors that the Multiac Mundial from Godin has, which is why I love that guitar so much. It's also one of the guitars that my wife stole from me. She liked it so much. So anyway, that's guitar talk for the day. Nylon guitars. You may be going into a guitar store and just walking past them. Play some. But what I encourage you to do, don't just play one. I mean, you're liable to form an opinion. You're liable to get a hold of one with that big wide nut, up near the headstock, and you don't like that. Or you may go, there's a lot of room to make a chord here. I like this. But remember, there's different kinds. The nut width, the scales, just like every guitar, are different. But the nylons do not totally protect your fingers from getting calluses. If you play enough even nylons, you're going to get some calluses. You're going to get sore fingers. But my wife found, people that I've taught and helped have found that when you're tired, when you need a rest, when you need to let them heal a little, a nylon can be something that eases that pain and keeps things going to help your guitar journey. And I hope your guitar journey is blessed. And like I always say, and I mean it, hey, happy picking.